Hi, I'm Jason from North Carolina. I like running, hiking, fishing, spending time with my wife. For all these years, my asthma was telling me, you're not enough, you can't do that, which only worsened over time. Now that I have TEZSPIRE, it's helped me have fewer asthma attacks, better breathing, and relieved my asthma symptoms. After going on this challenging, severe asthma journey, I'm now saying, you are enough. You've got this. And that means the world to me.
TEZSPIRE, tezepelumab-ekko, is an add-on maintenance treatment for people aged 12 and older with severe asthma. TEZSPIRE is not a rescue medication.
I've had asthma since I was a kid, and it was usually pretty manageable. And about 6 years ago, something changed, and my symptoms became progressively worse. My steroid inhalers didn't feel like they were helping, and almost every asthma attack was landing me in the hospital. And that's when I was diagnosed with severe asthma. My entire life was flipped upside down. I always was an active person. I loved running, hiking with my friends. Suddenly I couldn't leave my room because I was afraid just using the stairs would trigger an asthma attack. I couldn't even blow out a candle. I didn't have enough breath to do that, much less to be around one. That was a trigger as well for me. Everything felt impossible to do. It became tough emotionally and mentally trying to come to grips with what could I do again. My pulmonologist gave me an exercise the first time I met with her, which was write down and journal 5 things you could do if you can never run or be active again that would bring you joy. That was a tough exercise to try to do that and see, because my new normal may be a lot different. So I was journaling during this asthma journey, because trying to find out what were the triggers when they happened, because something was different, right? It was controlled when I was a kid and even a young adult, and then no longer controlled. So trying to just understand what those triggers were to help solve the problem with it. The transition to severe asthma was really hard. My wife actually was afraid to even make me laugh for fear that it would induce an attack that would put me into the hospital. My friends that I run with would come over and just hang out with me, but I would get a lot of FOMO whenever they would talk about an adventure they went on, a race that they went and did, and I couldn't do it. At one point, my wife started getting into weightlifting. She was training to deadlift 250 pounds. I was proud of her, but wasn't sure where the sudden interest had come from. Then she confessed that she was doing it for me. She wanted to be sure that if I had an asthma attack, she'd be able to help me. I need to be able to pick you up, is what she said. I knew it was then that something needed to change. My family doctor had been able to keep my asthma stable for a long time, but suddenly the frequency and intensity of the attacks was increasing. But when my asthma became severe, nearly every attack was landing me in the ER. That's when I knew that I needed help from a specialist. She sent me to a pulmonologist, and that's where the journey began towards finding TEZSPIRE. My wife and I had this look of desperation on our faces in those first few appointments because we had so many questions, but we weren't asking the right ones. If I could go back in time, I might have left myself a few notes in a journal to tell the doctor things like how many rescue inhalers was I going through, how often am I waking up at night, what triggers were affecting me the most at any time. I think I might have found help a little sooner if I had known what to say. For over 2 years, my pulmonologist tried different medications, but we still couldn't get my asthma under control. That's when she recommended adding TEZSPIRE to my treatment plan. After discussing the risks and the benefits of TEZSPIRE, we decided to try it. My insurance was able to approve the prescription, and my pulmonologist had the first dose waiting at my next visit. Everything I'd heard about TEZSPIRE was promising, and I was counting down the days to my first dose. I was like a kid on Christmas Eve, just waiting to see what might happen. You really don't want to get your hopes up, but I was ready for help. The first dose was quick, it was easy injection for me. I liked the idea that it was a once-a-month thing. Early on, I started to feel mild improvements in my symptoms and was excited to see the next doses held. After the second dose, I started to feel a lot better. Still had some symptoms, but they were a lot better in control, and I could feel myself getting control back. I was able to leave the house and go on walks around the neighborhood with my running friends without having to rely on my rescue inhaler as much. And my wife was able to make me laugh again without worrying about having to carry me to the hospital. I was cautiously optimistic at this point. I didn't want to jinx it, but I knew that there was something different with my asthma after taking TEZSPIRE. As I continued on TEZSPIRE, my routine changed. I wasn't stuck in my room worrying if I could climb the stairs or not. My breathing was better, so I was able to get back out exercising with my running friends, traveling for work. I didn't have as much FOMO as before. I was gaining confidence in what I was experiencing, and I even signed up for my first race in a long while. Asthma wasn't controlling my life, I was now controlling the asthma. Yeah, the other night, my wife and I were getting ready for bed, and I just got up, leaned over, and blew out a 3-wick candle. Later, as I was walking into the bedroom, it just dawned on me like I couldn't do that before. I didn't have the capacity to blow out candles, much less even be around a scented candle. TEZSPIRE is just part of my life. Now I'm on the pre-filled pen, which means I don't have to go to my doctor's office for my monthly dose. It's just part of my routine now, and for me it's easy to use. I pull it out of the fridge, let it sit for an hour while I have coffee and breakfast, and then I inject myself, and then I'm back on my day. It's been over 2 years since I took my first dose of TEZSPIRE, and asthma will always be a part of who I am, but it no longer defines me. I'm not missing out on time with my friends and my family as much as I used to, and thanks to the asthma control I have found with TEZSPIRE, I am back to being me.
Don't take TEZSPIRE if you're allergic to it. Allergic reactions may occur and can be serious. Rash or eye allergy can happen. Don't stop your asthma treatments unless your doctor tells you to. Tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection or your asthma worsens. Sore throat, joint, and back pain may occur. Avoid live vaccines. Individual results may vary. Talk to your asthma specialist about how TEZSPIRE can help.